Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and we are rapidly approaching November 8th, 2016, which, according to many people out there, is going to be the most important election of your life. Do you vote for Hillary Rodham Clinton, or Donald the Orange Trump, or Gary Johnson if you want a viable third-party option who won't get elected, but still voting for him if you don't want the other two probably is the best way to go, because that way you showcase that a third-party vote actually has some weight in this fucking country and can ultimately do away with the Electoral College if we try hard enough. Again, that's way the fuck out there, but that's my dream. Anyway, so as we get closer to this tipping point election, we get certain things that pop up, like this website here titled SaveTheDay.vote. And if you take a look at Save the Day, you're going to see it's got the old Schoolhouse Rock font, and it's telling you to select your state and your email and continue on for voter registration. Because that's what this site is, supposedly. It's supposedly a site to register to vote, so you can vote in the most important election of our time. Or is it? So here's what it actually has to say about what it is. We are a short-form digital production company dedicated to the idea that voting is a necessary and heroic act, that every voice in this wonderfully diverse nation should and must be heard, that the only thing that can save democracy is the act that defines it. We are committed to fighting the apathy, cynicism, and honest confusion that keeps citizens from using their vote, and to reminding an increasingly out-of-touch and compromised set of representatives that they are answerable to the people they were hired to serve. Now, that sounds all well and good, right? I'm totally behind that. Every person in this country should vote. Every person has a voice. They should hear it. I don't agree that convicted felons should lose the right to vote. I don't think we should have, we should restrict voting. I think we should open it up. I really feel that everyone should get out there. We should make it a fucking national holiday, right? As Bernie Sanders suggested, and put more emphasis on the importance of voting, because the numbers have been declining year after year after year after year after year. And it's not helping anything. And when I say year after year, I don't just mean every 4 years, because many people out there only think that you vote once every 4 years. There are local elections at least once a year. And really, honest to God, you should spend more time looking into local elections rather than the national, because we only really vote on the national one once every 4 years, right? But the local ones are the ones that affect our day-to-day lives, and that's the ones we should be spending time with. However, Save the Day is interesting because you kind of look at it from that beginning part and you think to yourself, well, maybe, just maybe, this is all about trying to register to vote no matter who or what candidate you want. Do you want Hillary Clinton? Do you want Donald Trump? Do you want Gary Johnson? Like, that's the thing. Actually, it's a political action committee. Here's what it says. Save the Day is paid for by the Save the Day PAC and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Okay, so it is a PAC, and it definitely is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. So again, like I said, you would figure that this particular project, this particular PAC, would definitely, cater to all sides, right? Well, they've released a video, so let's just take a look at the first couple seconds of this video.
On Tuesday, November 8th, this country will make one of the most important
decisions in its history.
You have a chance.
You have an obligation
to be a part of that decision.
You might think it's not important. You might think you're not important.
But that's not true.
And the only way we can prove that to you is by having lots of famous people.
Lots of famous people.
Lots and lots of famous people.
Just a shit ton of famous people.
Repeating how important.
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 How important it is.
And you see that? You see all those celebrities in there telling you that you have to vote, and then repeating it over and over and over and over and over again, because that's how we retain information, is we have to hear it multiple times. That's true. That's how we learn. All right. So you have the first 35 seconds of this video. You got Robert Downey Jr. You've got Scarlett Johansson. You've got some other celebrities you recognize, some celebrities you don't recognize, but they're all saying basically the same thing. Get out there and vote. Now, they're not telling you who you should vote for, although they do heavily imply who you shouldn't vote for. Check this out.
A racist, abusive coward who could permanently damage the fabric of our society.
Do the math. Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
Firing things?
So clearly, Don Cheadle does not want Donald Trump to become president, and I don't blame him in that regard. But what I love is the follow-up comment there of, do you want this guy having the nuclear codes? As if the president is always sitting there with the finger on the button ready to strike. That's not how it works. That's never been how it works. It's not how it would play out even with Trump. And it's such a tired rhetoric statement to make in this regard. It's so much bullshit that they're pushing out there right now as a result of this, as they're trying to say, like, oh no, Trump will get the nukes and he'll nuke some people or something. Someone made fun of him on the internet. Clearly, he'll launch a nuke at that person. Yeah, well, Hillary was triggered by a goddamn cartoon frog. Is she going to fucking launch a nuke at the inventor of Pepe the Frog? I mean, seriously, come on, right? But it gets, goddamn it, it gets even fucking worse. Because not only do they try to, start this thing off by saying that you have a voice, right? But they want the right voice to be heard. They want only one side of voices to be heard. They only want that to be the left-leaning, the Hillary supporters. And to do this, and this is where I actually am kind of ticked off at this video, because this was directed by Joss Whedon. Save the Day is actually a Joss Whedon-owned PAC. But this is what, I mean, the joke here is that, well, I'm not even going to tell you. Just pay attention to this clip right here about what you'll get if you vote Hillary Rodham Clinton on November 8th.
And if you do vote,
And help protect this country from fear and ignorance.
Mark will do a nude scene in his next movie?
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo will do a nude scene in his next movie.
Wait, what?
Mark will do a nude scene.
Mark's gonna have his dick out.
Full Monty.
Full Marky.
Mark Ruffalo will do a nude scene, dick out and all, right? Now, granted, like I said, it's a joke. It's meant to be humorous. It's meant to be funny. It's meant to be all of these things. But just for a second, what if the roles were reversed and it was Scarlett Johansson's going to do a nude scene, right? What if the roles were reversed on that one? All of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, if you vote for Hillary Clinton because she'll be the first female president, Scarlett Johansson is going to straight up do reverse cowgirl on fucking Mark Ruffalo or some such shit like that. The internet would be losing their goddamn mind. But because the joke is that a man will get naked in a scene and he'll have his dick out, full Monty, all that stuff, it's meant to be taken as lightly as it is. Right. And that's again, there's a level of utter hypocrisy when it comes to this particular political action committee. You cannot sit there. I'm sorry. You can't sit there and try to say that everyone has an equal and diverse voice. Right. And you're trying to promote that while also promoting Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump by saying he's a racist, xenophobic bigot, which I'm not saying he isn't, but I'm just saying like that should not necessarily be your go-to against him. All right. People want you're using buzzwords, which makes sense. It's Joss fucking Whedon. And then ending up with, oh, well, clearly if we do this right, then you get to see Mark Ruffalo's penis. It just, it diminishes the message. I liked the first 35 seconds. And I'm not going to lie. I even chuckled when it got to the Mark Ruffalo part. It's like, oh, that's no wonder Buffy's off the air. I get all that, but it just bothers me as a voter. It bothers me as a rational, logical person that once again, every fucking presidential election cycle, we get to the point where you have got these kind of tactics are being used in order to push the candidate that you want, all while claiming, oh, this is not authorized by any candidate or any candidate's committee. Clearly, it's for one side over the other, but it does say they want the diverse voices to come out there and speak. But your opinion doesn't matter if you're not on their side. That's the typical regressive left social justice warrior mentality. And again, this particular, PSA, if you will, has a whole fuckload of star talent because Joss Whedon knows everybody and just said, hey, come over to my garage on a Tuesday afternoon at 4. We're going to be shooting this thing real quick. And you got everybody to show up. So that's basically how that worked out too. All I'm saying is when you want to vote on November 8th, and you should vote if you live in the United States, are over the age of 18 and are not a convicted felon, because that's basically how we do it. Or if you're a male, registered for selective services, i.e. the draft. That's how you have to register. You have to register with selective services in order to be able to vote if you're a man. Again, and gender equality there, folks. The point is, you should go out and you should vote. I do fully believe that your vote should count for something, even if the Electoral College kind of does whatever the fuck it wants. but the numbers are still there. The numbers are going to be there. And if you want Trump to win, go out and vote for Trump. If you want Hillary to win, go out and vote for Hillary. If you want to write in Bernie Sanders or Ralph fucking Wiggum, go do that. Go out there and do it. Go talk to people while you're in line. Don't do electioneering because they get all bitchy about that stuff. But have an open, honest to God conversation with somebody face to face while you're in line waiting to go and vote. And that's the one thing that they don't fucking talk about at all. And I went to Adam Conover's election special, Adam Ruins Everything election special, live last week in Portland. And he talked about that. And he says, go and have these conversations with people. You'll discover that you're not too far off from what you believe politically, which is very true. Most of the times we're just like 1 or 2 degrees off point from each other, but it's very similar in nature. But because of the way the political system, because of the way that these super PACs come out, the save the day vote bullshit comes out, it always tries to divide people. Look at how this ad started. Every vote counts, your voice matters. And then a minute into it, there's Don Cheadle, but you don't want a racist, xenophobic bigot, do you? And then it goes on to say, you don't want this guy having the nuclear codes. I mean, how is that equal? And then to end it with Mark Ruffalo's junk being put on the table, even humorously. Again, it's just this bullshit rhetoric that's coming out in this regard. And it's driving me up the fucking wall. I just want this season to be over. I want the election season to be over. And I love it if celebrities would, maybe, I get it. They can believe who they want to believe politically. You know what I mean? I get it. That's fine. They can do what they want there. But I think the American public, the people watching these videos, the people being influenced by these videos, need to take a good look at everything and just go do I want to be pandered to by these celebrities? Or do I want to look at the issues, look at the candidates, and make my own mind? And I really think a lot of that's going to come from having honest, open discussions with other people in line while waiting to vote. Get out there and do it. That's the one thing I agree with this particular video on, is get out there and fucking vote. Because that is how we change the country. It's not going to happen for us. We have to make our own way in this regard. And again, heavy emphasis on local elections over the national ones. Because like I said, we only get the one national election. We don't get a vote on who the Supreme Court justice is, right? We don't, we get a vote on our representatives and on our congressmen and on our mayors and on our sheriffs and on our judges and on our councilmen and all of these things. Those things matter more than the rest. But we tend to look at the macro picture versus the micro picture because that's what we see when we watch 24/7 news media. It's the macro picture. We need to move away from that and start looking and paying heavier emphasis on the micro because that's where we live. That's our day to day. That's where we're at. And I think stuff like this, it just completely blows a lot of it out of proportion, and it's using celebrity, power in order to push its agenda. And it can because it's a free country, but I want people to be aware of the bullshit that's going on and vote how you want to vote. But still, please, for the love of God, actually vote.